All right, we are back. I'm a bit out of practice, so forgive me if I'm a bit scrambled, but Real Madrid defeats Real Betis at home because we only seem to be able to win at home 5-1. The Garcias of Spain put on an absolute show. 4 goals out of the 5 were scored by a player with the last name Garcia. So, let's talk. And I'm going to say it from the get-go. We won by a lot of goals because Kylian Mbappe did not play. It is the truth. I don't care what any of you say. For the first half hour, best performance we've seen from Vini Jr. Even though he's right-footed, Rodrygo looked dynamic and able to take his man on the right wing and was actually creating stuff. And that's because Mbappe isn't in their way. He's not like constantly in the pockets of space that Rodrygo and Vini want to be in. Okay? We also have Gonzalo Garcia in there giving the center back something to think about. They actually have to worry about, if they play a ball into the box, there's somebody that can actually get on the end of it at the back post or head it or do something, get some sort of touch on it because there's an actual committed runner into the box. You guys will call me crazy. You guys will comment and say that I'm insane. You guys will say that I'm ungrateful. You guys will say that Kylian Mbappe is the best thing to ever happen in Real Madrid since Cristiano Ronaldo. And I don't care. I'm going to say it how it is. I'm going to speak the truth. Kylian Mbappe is probably the best player on planet Earth right now. However, I've been saying it since he joined, he completely dismantles the tactical system that we want to employ. If you look at modern football, you look at who the most successful teams in the world are, okay? You've got, Barcelona. I'm going based off of mostly last season, and they're still cooking this year. 2 wingers with lots of pace and good one-on-one ability. Poacher/target man in the box. Okay? And this year, they're even a little bit more dangerous because they've got Rashford, who's right-footed on the left, and Yamal or Rafinha, who's left-footed on the right. Let's look at Bayern. They've got right-footed left winger, right-footed left winger, left-footed right winger. Poacher/target man in the box, and Harry Kane's more than that. He can make a goal on his own, honestly. Okay? Let's look at Arsenal. Right-footed left winger, left-footed right winger. Target man in the box this year, right? They've got Gyökeres. And when it wasn't Gyökeres, they've got Marino. A big guy that is willing to get in the box. There is a willing runner to get in there amongst all the chaos, amongst all the traffic, and try to score a goal. Okay, who else can I name? Manchester City. We've got Doku, right-footed left winger. Savinho, left-footed right winger. Cherki, I know they interchange. They have 15 world-class players in every position. And then a target man/poacher in the box. Those 4 teams would all beat us right now. Every single one. And there's a very similar blueprint towards how they play the sport. Now, I'm not saying that every single team needs to play soccer the exact same way. However, if you look at the most elite in Europe, the most elite in the world, the teams that have had the most amount of success over the last few years, that's kind of what's going on. The only team that doesn't do that is PSG. And they've got world-class wingers that take their man on, but they're also running a false 9 system, which we don't do either. So that works for them. We are trying to make something work that will never work. And we absolutely need a poacher/target man. We really do. And despite not being that big, despite not being that physically domineering, Gonzalo Garcia played that role wonderfully today. Like, it was absolutely fantastic. His movement for that first goal was absolutely incredible. He's on Rodriguez, who's an experienced left back, by the way. He's been around for a while. Darts inside, has Rodriguez follow, just peels right back. He's completely free at the back post, heads it across goal. Very, very simple. The second goal was, honestly ridiculous. It was honestly insane. Now, you'd look at it and be like, the center backs gave him way too much time. Nobody got tight to him. Nobody got close. And you'd be absolutely correct. They didn't. But do you know why that was the case? It's because unlike Mbappe, who plays on the shoulder of the defender, he just picks one defender to isolate and he wants the run in behind. Gonzalo Garcia puts himself directly in the center between both center backs, and that causes confusion. They're like, which one of us is supposed to step to him? They don't know because he's directly in between both. And it either does one or two things. they stay split and they step to him when he gets the ball, or they squeeze, leaving more space out wide for the wingers. Mbappe is very rarely in those positions where he's forcing the center backs to either pinch or stretch. He kind of just goes where he wants, and his main focus is to score, right? It's not to make space for others. And you'd think rightfully so, like that's a forward's job, but it's like you can get the best of both worlds if you just had a target man or a poacher or a guy who actually knows how to play the 9 role. Now, I'm not going to sit here and yap about Kylian Mbappe the entire video. I'm going to talk about a couple of other things. Rodrygo seems reborn. Rodrygo seems to be playing with flair, with confidence, with energy. He seems positive. And honestly, I commend him. He is a mental warrior. To go through the beginning of the season in the way that he did and still be able to play this way is, like, honestly credit to Rodrygo. Like, it kind of reminds me of the Harry Maguire situation where people were clowning him. He was a really big meme for a while, and then they kind of needed somebody to play, and they started playing him again. He was doing really well. Now, I know that's like a whole other extreme, but that's just the case it reminds me of. My only concern is, as much as I love Rodrygo, I still don't think it's the situation or it's the solution long term to play Rodrygo on the right wing. I don't think it is. I don't have much more to say on that, but that's just my opinion as of right now. Something I want to ask you guys is, and please let me know what you think about this down below in the comments, is, excuse me, sorry, I'm a bit dehydrated. Where does this leave Vini and Rodrygo? Because Vini had the best performance he's had in a while. Now, I will say they were playing like a kid at right back who has little to no experience and could not keep up with Vini for pace. But like Vini was making chances. I won't take too much away from the fact that it was a younger fullback, an inexperienced fullback for Real Betis. Like, he had an okay game, but it was better than what he's had. He's gone now 18 games without a goal. And even though Mbappe didn't play today, I think a big part of the reason why it's been so hard for Vini to score goals is because, frankly, and we've been saying this for 2 years now, him and Mbappe and Vini get in each other's way. That's like the only way to put it, really. So where does this leave Vini and Rodrygo? Now, here's another thing to think about, something that I wrote. Camavinga over Goulet. I think Camavinga started the game really well, but as the game went on, he started to give the ball away really cheaply a couple times in a row. It was in that moment where it was after the third goal where Real Madrid completely took their foot off the gas, which is just something I absolutely despise about this team. And it's been like this for as long as I've been watching. Real Madrid is easily the laziest team on the planet. Like, easily. They think, okay, we're up 3-0. The game's over. I don't really need to try hard anymore. And they stop dropping back. And you could see Rudiger and Courtois getting mad. Because they're like, yo, it's the 65th minute. The game's not over. Like, can we please keep running back on defense? And I just like, all right. And I don't know how we're okay with that. I don't know how Xabi Alonso's not losing his mind. But then again, that's the things that come with coaching Madrid. You've got to deal with laziness. You've got to deal with egos. You've got to deal with all these players that don't want to work. But this is what brings me back to my point of Camavinga. It's like almost the second we scored the third goal, his focus completely went away. Like, he just started getting so many lapses in concentration. He started giving the ball away. He didn't seem as sharp or as quick thinking. And I know he was out injured for a while, but he's also been fit for a while again. So I don't really want to say it's about fitness. I kind of just think, and this is the culture at Real Madrid, is like, oh, when we think the job is done, the intensity drops 50, 60%, and it's just not acceptable. It's like we could have kept a clean sheet today and won 5-0 had we not gone those 10, 15 minutes of just like barely trying. Now, something I kept hearing the commentators say was Xabi Alonso has given up on implementing his philosophy and his system, and he's just going back to Ancelotti tactics. I swear they said it like 5-6 times. And I agree for the most part. I don't think it's that he's just given up on the players. I think Xabi Alonso's kind of just looking at it as like, I need to survive. And if I don't win games, I'm going to get sacked. I think that after a transfer window or two, when he has pieces that he wants, he can make something happen really well with his tactical philosophy, with the way he sees the game. But yeah, no, we have definitely reverted to Ancelotti ball a little bit, just like classic 4-4-2, wait for chances, not anything too clever in the build-up, over-reliance on one or two patterns. Like, it's... The reason why Ancelotti was so successful is because it was predictable, but it was extremely effective. Like, it reminds me of the Arjen Robben. Like, you knew what he was going to do, but you just couldn't stop it because it was so effective. But that system, unfortunately, does not work when players are giving it 30 or 40%. Now, we hustled for the first 3 goals today. Like, we were working hard, we were pressing, we were in their half. It's just the second we scored the third one, we kind of slipped up. And I'll tell you why we were pressing. Because when Gonzalo Garcia is on the field and he's pressing like a madman, if nobody goes with him, they just beat the press easily. So they're almost forced to press. Vini, Bellingham, who presses anyways, Rodrygo, who presses anyways, Camavinga, Tchouameni, Valverde, everyone has to get up. Otherwise, if Gonzalo Garcia presses by himself, they're just going to build around him. That's one player taking out the game, and they break us down a lot easier. And it's also like a seniority thing. Well, the older players are like, and the guys who've been around longer are like, well, if Gonzalo Garcia is pressing, we should probably press too. Which is nice. Mbappe would never do that. Mbappe would never, ever lead by example. Be like, hey, we got to press. We got to go win the ball back and create chances, especially at home. I don't care how many goals he scored. I'll say it again. He has completely disrupted the tactical harmony of the team. We had a very successful 4-4-2 diamond that we won a double, almost won a treble. Kylian Mbappe joined. We completely had to change it. We couldn't use that system anymore. We became trash all of last year. We went trophyless. And I'm still under the impression that we will go trophyless this year because this was a one-off performance. Gonzalo Garcia won't start the next game if Mbappe's fit. Now, here's something that I was also a little bit frustrated with. Why did we wait so long to make substitutions? It's like we know the calendar's busy. We know we've already got a couple injuries. We're up 3-0. Let's bring players on with a point to prove. Let's bring players on that aren't going to get complacent because we're up 3-0. Let's bring players on with fresh legs, with energy, that have a point to prove, that can give us that defensive work rate. Let's bring on a Dani Ceballos. Let's bring on an Arda Güler, who's probably upset that he didn't start the game. I'm not even sure who else is fit, who else is not fit. Like, let's take a look quickly. Right? And I know some of those guys did end up coming on, but it's like, why not bring them on earlier? Why are we bringing them on? Like, the first sub was made in the 77th minute. I'm pretty sure we went 3-0 up in the 56th minute. Yeah. Why is it in the 60th, 65th minute we're not bringing on 2-3 guys? Especially in midfield. Why not give Bellingham a break? Why not like give players that have been playing a ton of break? We're up 3-0. And it's not like the guys on our bench are atrocious. They're all pretty good players, well, except for maybe Mendy, who's barely played any soccer, but he came on in the 89th minute, so it didn't really impact the game too much. Like, Güler came on in the 77th minute, got an assist. You know what I'm saying? Mastantuono came on. Ceballos came on. Like, Garcia came on in the 88th, scored a goal. You know, I'm like, well, maybe they could have done even more had they, you know, not come on with 10, 15 minutes to go. We're up 3-0 in the 56th minute. Why not come on in the 60th minute? Give the guys a half hour, right? Give other guys a rest. Guys that have been playing way too much a rest. Maybe give Vini a break. Give Bellingham a break. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just some random dude in the United States. But let me know what you guys think. That's my thoughts about today's game. We have the European Super Cup next. It honestly might help that Mbappe's out because, once again, last time we played Atletico Madrid, they spammed crosses against two center backs that could not defend out of the air, Militao and Huijsen. I have no idea how 6'5" Huijsen cannot defend out of the air. He has gotten better, but it's not exactly where it needs to be, and he's only 20. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That will come with time. However, we need someone to be in the box and be a menace towards their center backs, because if we don't have that, they are very, very, very easily able to defend us. We already know how they play. They play that haram ball. They play that terrorist ball. Everyone's in behind. It's like, well, if there's no space in behind and we have nobody running into the box, our players are useless. Vini, Rodrygo, and Mbappe are absolutely useless against low blocks. Like, absolutely useless. So maybe it's a good thing Gonzalo plays. I'd be interested to see how Gonzalo Garcia and Bellingham do against Atletico Madrid. Two guys that are very comfortable getting into the box, crashing the box, making runs into the back post, and just not being afraid of getting in the traffic, getting in the chaos. So let me know what you guys think. I'm hoping that we beat Atletico Madrid. I'm honestly not too optimistic, but I'm going to be the Real Madrid page that is realistic, not optimistic. Anyways, till next time, take care of yourselves. HALA Madrid.